original play commissioned by the Elgin Heritage Society. We were thrilled to be able to do. It's our first adventure in this kind of activity. And it's an original play, an original weekend packed with heritage activities. So I want to welcome you and give you a few instructions and some information before we begin. I won't take very long. But the play is about the community. And of course, it's fiction, but it's based on stories that came out of the DVD, which I have right here. The DVD, which is interviews of people who went to the Red Brick Schoolhouse, and also students who were there and teachers. So the stories came out of that, and also from people in the community. So remember, it is fiction. The author is here. She's created a wonderful piece for us to look at, and I hope that you'll enjoy it. I hope, too, that you enjoy the atmosphere here. This is the Nichols family. Kathy Leggett and her sisters came in on Friday and just did a job on all of this, and it's very magical, I think. So I want to thank them and all the people who have been involved in helping me and in producing this play. And of course, we couldn't go without thanking Diane Haskins, who is the president of our society and has lots of wonderful ideas, and this really is the culmination of one of them. The people in the play, as I say, are members from the community, and it's based on their reminiscences. Let the play begin.
Howard, right on time.
Of course we're on time, and I'd like you to meet Jim Auld, our Ab Emmons. Ab's the school board trustee that I've been telling you about, Jim, who's done a great deal of work in preparing the application to the province for our new elementary school.
Good to see you again, Mr. Emmons. Or, do you mind if I call you Ab? You can call me Jim, everyone else does.
Sure, Ab and Jim it is. I'm surprised you remember me. It's been a while since the last election.
Not so long as that, the usual 4 years, plus maybe a little bit this time around, but we won't be able to push that out much longer anyway. I never forget a face. I believe you've been on the board here a while.
Yes, a delegation came through soon after we moved here and convinced me to put my name forward. That was maybe 8 years ago.
They came to me in 1954, I guess just the year before you. Anyway, I just, it was good to see you again, and I want you to know that this education portfolio of mine it's always been a passion of mine, and it still is.
I appreciate that, Jim. So Howard, has Jim seen what he came for?
We're on our way over to see the old fire trap right now. Ab, we'll be back in lots of time for your meeting with the Reeve.
Yeah, and if the situation over there is as bad as Howard's letter to the county fire marshal made it out to be, well, you'll have my complete support for a new school, Ab.
I appreciate that, Jim. Gordy, shall I say, a little reluctant to go ahead with this school project. And without the Reeve say-so, the school board can't do a blame thing.
You leave Gordy to me, okay? We'll see you in a few minutes.
Was that our MPP, Jim Auld, that I just saw leaving the school lab?
It was, Elsie. He and Howard are just going over to the old continuation school to check with that furnace pipe.
I'm glad he's taking an interest. Help out our case, it will. Now, where were we? Oh, yes. These attendance records should give you the information you need for that part of the grant application that we were just looking at.
You know, I wouldn't have been able to put all this together without your help, Elsie, especially since you're already retired. Wasting a summer away on this paperwork? Can you believe how much information those bureaucrats down in Toronto need to make the decision? I don't know how they get anything done at all. I hope you know how much it means to me that you're doing the right thing.
It's been a pleasure working with you on this app. Goodness knows I didn't quite know what to do with myself this summer. No fall session to prepare for. Yes, this is an exciting project. And to tell you the truth, I'm a little sorry I won't be here to see it through. Better a new school start out with a new principal, though, I suppose. It might surprise you to hear this, Ab, but I'm going to miss this place.
What? The drafty windows that don't half open? The uneven wood floors that trip people up? Air too hot in the summer and too cold in the winter?
No, of course not. But this building still has good bones, and you know it, Ab Emmons. No, it's just that I don't quite know how to put it. I'd hate to see this old building torn down. It's got so much history to it, so many memories.
Well, you know as well as I do, Elsie, that it's the other building, the old continuation school, that's the problem. And if you close that building, there's just not enough room here for all the students we have enrolled right now, and more to come. When you bring them from the other 6 one-room schoolhouses that we have to close. And we do have to close them, Elsie. There's just no way we can keep paying for all those teachers and maintenance costs for a handful of students at each location.
I know, Ab. And I don't know why I should still care now that I'm retired. It's not as if it's any concern of mine, but I do still care. That's the plain truth of it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm all for a new school. Well, you know that already. And I'm all for getting rid of that old continuation school. My goodness, it was Jerry built from day one and everyone knows it. It hasn't been fun having my teachers and senior students housed over there either. But this red brick schoolhouse, that's something else entirely. I'll miss this building, these old rooms.
I know, Elsie. I'll take your point. I'll see what I can do.
Good evening, Ab. Elsie.
Gordy.
Good evening, Gordy. Well, I'll leave you gentlemen to your meeting and be on my way. We've done about as much as we can do today, Ab.
It's good of you to let us use the school here for our meeting place, Elsie.
There's no problem, Ab. What better place to talk about building a new school than an old school? Don't worry about locking up. I'll come back a little later.
Thanks again, Elsie. We'll talk soon.
Good night, Gordy. Ab.
Night, Elsie. I don't know how long I can stay. Where's Howard?
He'll be here any minute. He's just showing the furnace pipe at the old continuation school to Jim Auld.
You didn't tell me Jim Auld was here. He drove all the way up from Brockville?
I guess so. Look, Gordy, I didn't know he was coming either until Howard called me late this afternoon. And then I figured if Jim was coming all this way, he might as well join us.
Now you listen to me, Ab. I haven't made up my mind about this new school idea you and your trustees have. And now it seems you've got Elsie in cahoots with you too. And getting Howard involved. Well, he's been the township fire marshal for 10 years, and in all that time, he hasn't found one thing wrong with that continuation school building. Well, I mean, now, what does he discover? A leaking furnace pipe. Well, blast it all, I'll fix the thing myself and put an end to the whole deal. If they don't hurry, I'm going to have to leave. Those cows have got to be milked. You've all made up your minds anyway. It's plain that what I think doesn't matter one bit.
That's not true. They'll be here. Just give it a few more minutes, okay? Howard, Jim, Gordy's here and has a lot of time. You guys get to it.
Ah, Gordy, it's good to see you again. I'm afraid Toronto's been keeping me pretty busy.
I'm not surprised now that you're Minister of Transport. I am surprised that you've got time to worry about a small thing like a little three-room schoolhouse.
Well, you know how it is. I like to get out and see my constituents. And when this matter of a fire hazard at your local school came up, well, I just had to get out here to see for myself. Anyway, it's good to see you again. How are you, you sly old son of a gun?
Who are you calling old? I've got a turn or two of rut in the racetrack in me yet before you young fellas put me out to pasture for good.
Now, that's a Gordy I know. Come and sit down here, and I'll tell you how I see it. I come out here, Gordy, to see that building for myself, and the county fire marshal came, when was that, Howard?
Oh, the day before yesterday, Jim. He sure didn't waste any time getting here once he got the letter I sent him last week. You know, this is serious.
Oh, Gordy, Howard just wanted to make sure that things were as bad as he thought, and they are.
I'll fix that blasted pipe myself and show you young smile-outs how things is done.
Sure, you can fix the pipe, but that's not the problem, Gordy. The problem is the layout of the whole damn building.
You listen to me, Howard. That building has done good service to this community since the day it was built, which wasn't that long ago that there still aren't a few people around who can remember. Why, it brought students in from Chafee's, Locks, and Crosby,
And Portland.
And Portland, and all around for continuation courses in the 30s and the 40s.
That's true, Gordy, but the enrollment declined after the war, and the village voted to close the school in 1951 because they couldn't afford to operate it anymore. Well, at least that's what I've been told.
Well, yeah, and they got the new high school built in Elgin in 1959.
But that was on the province's ticket.
Well, partially, yes, but it was all part of restructuring for creating larger jurisdictions to administer secondary education. You know, secondary education was in a sorry state when Leslie Frost took the helm. Jim Robarts and I were rookie MPPs back then. We were on the standing committee on education together. Boy, we knew that secondary education sure needed a shot on the arm. The Cold War left no doubt in our minds. We'd need the best brain power we could get to keep the Russians in check.
And public schools. Nobody said anything about the state of that building when they passed it back to us in 1960 for those senior elementary kids.
Well, we feel the same way about public education, Gordy, but that's always been funded by the municipalities, with a grant from the province to make sure that certain educational standards were being met. But we expect the municipality to take care of their local assets, such as fixing that leaky furnace pipe. But for major construction like what you need here, the province is prepared to grant a debentured loan to the municipality.
Oh, leaving the municipality on the hook for the full cost plus 20 years of interest, which adds up to how much they're at?
About $240,000, but well, any way you look at it, Gordy. Right now we're paying for teachers and maintenance costs at 8 separate locations. The only way we can afford to operate a school at all is to consolidate them to one location, here in Elgin. If we do that, we won't need as many teachers for one thing, which, might I also add, are in very short supply. And our maintenance costs would go way down. Why, we might even be able to lower the mill rate.
But the main thing is that that old school is a disaster waiting to happen, Gordy. I'm telling you, you can patch that hole in the pipe, but how long will it be before there's another hole? And how long will it be before papers get stacked up against that bloody furnace again? Why, I'm telling you, if that fire broke out in that furnace room tomorrow, there's no way out for anybody in those upstairs rooms except out through the windows. And for anybody in that downstairs room, why, Gordy, you don't want to ever see the day!
And the loan is a sure thing?
As sure as I'm sitting here, but it's only for new construction, not for fixing up an old building. Timing is a factor here, too. Other municipalities are coming forward. You're not the only one with an old one-room schoolroom. You know, this is a chance to move South Crosby into the 20th century, Gordy. And a new public school would be a wonderful legacy to leave behind you.
Well, I'll think about it. Leaving the township in debt for 20 years isn't any great legacy, Jim. It's no small matter. We haven't got billions to play around with like you boys down in Toronto.
I know that. I just wanted to let you know where I stand on the matter. I'm prepared to argue this with my colleagues in Toronto till I'm blue in the face. Not that it would come to that. Did I happen to mention that John Robarts and I are close?
Yes.
Anyway, it's good to see you again, Gordy. I look forward to seeing you when you're in Toronto. Maybe we can have a little nightcap for the Good Roads Convention?
Well, I'll see if we can afford it. It's good of you to come all this way. I appreciate it.
Right. Well, gentlemen, I'll be on my way. Nice to meet you both.
Good to meet you.
We'll walk you to your car, Jim. Gordy, I'll give you a call in the morning. Come on, Howard.
Take care, Gordy.
Right, Howard? I believe my eyes. You're Miss Baker, aren't you?
Why, Gordon Burt, you remember your old teacher after all these years. Well, I shall remember you. Who could forget? Miss Baker, Miss Baker. I could have screamed when you pestered me like that. Ah! You may call me Lottie now.
That'll be hard, but I'll try. And only if you call me Gordy.
It's a deal, Gordy. I like that.
So, what is this? How come I'm the only one who can see you? Am I a goner? Have you come to take me?
No, Gordy, I've been many things in my life, but not an angel.
What are you doing here, then? I mean, I hate to bring it up, but you did pass over, what, 30 years ago?
I'm well aware of that fact, but I was wondering, you could tell me why I'm here.
Me? What have I got to do with it?
You mean you don't know? Why, you called to me. You called to me, just like you used to call to me within these 4 square walls.
I called out to you.
Yesterday.
I called out to you.
Yes. And I take it the burning question has something to do with that new school you were discussing.
Well, the board wants to build a new school. It's going to cost a lot of money and put the township in debt for 20 years. And it all comes down to me. I've got to make a decision.
Well, that's quite a decision to make. The big decision. Are you sure you're up to it? You know, sometimes when facing a big decision, it helps to see what others have done in the past. Oh, perhaps that's why I'm here. I can take you to the past, Gordy. We can see what people have done in other times.
Oh, I'd love to. Really, I really would, Lottie. It's been lovely seeing you. You always had a special place in my heart there, Lottie, but I've got a lot of cows to milk, and when they're late, they get downright ornery.
Don't worry about the cows, Gordy. If there's one thing I've got, now that I've passed over, as you so decorously put it, is time. We'll go and come back, and the cows won't even know you've been gone.
Well, if you say so.
On tight, Gordy. It's 1854. The town of Elgin had quite a growth spurt in the 1840s. Why, the population nearly doubled. It went from 2 to 4. The growing village of Elgin was named after the 8th Earl of Elgin, the Governor General at the time.
And I've heard that Elgin was known as Halliday's Corners before that, for Ebenezer Halliday, who owned all the property where Perth and Main Streets meet. Ebenezer, blind in one eye from an accident with a fork when he was a boy, was one of the first United Empire's loyalist settlers in this area.
My word, a reeve who knows his history. But did you know that very same Ebenezer donated land at the corner of Main Street and the Kingston Road for a 20 by 24-foot schoolhouse?
I can see it now. School days,
Dear old golden rule days, reading and writing and arithmetic.
Taught to the tune of a hickory stick.
I was your queen in calico.
And I was your bashful barefoot beau. But I wrote on your slate, I love you so. When we were a couple of kids.
You're a true romantic, aren't you? But I can tell you there was nothing romantic about teaching in those days. The only way for a teacher to get to school was on foot, so they were local residents. And a teacher in 1847 earned no more than a farm laborer, about $110 a year. This young lady is as good an example as any. That's Eliza Cannon, the second oldest daughter of John and Elizabeth Cannon. You don't know them? Why, they're Irish farmers just on the outskirts of town.
I bet you teachers as often as not got tagged to do a little farm work besides teaching.
Oh, of course they did. The extra income came in handy if they got paid for it. An extra pair of hands at threshing time, someone to watch over the children if a wife or mother was deathly ill. You helped out. You did what you had to do. School went on all year round, except for 2 weeks in July and a week at planting time. The older children went to school in the winter when they weren't needed on the farm, and the younger ones went to school in the summer.
That's pretty convenient daycare for a farm's busy season. We could use some of that now.
But what many people remember is how young a school teacher was. Often parents would entrust their children to a young girl, still in her teens, younger even than the biggest boys in the school. Over a mile from the
nearest home and with no means of communication to the outside world.
Oh, here come the children now. We'd better make ourselves scarce.
All rise for the morning prayers. This morning we shall recite the 10 commandments. Each of you saying one commandment, girls first and then boys, and so on until we are finished, which may be before we get to 10, since we seem to be a very small class today. I shall take attendance during this opening exercise. Therefore, when it is your turn, you shall stand up, say your name, state a commandment, and sit down. Caroline Holiday, please begin.
That's one of Ebenezer's youngest right there, Gordy.
Yes, Miss Cannon. Caroline Holiday. Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
There are 2 of the 10 Preston children here, Gordy. You might be interested to know that their father, Richard Preston, is the current reeve.
Margaret Preston, thou shalt not make unto any graven image, or any likeliness in heaven above.
Thank you, Margaret. Well, I think we get the general idea. Will your older brother Austin be gracing us with his presence today?
No, ma'am, he's helping out with the maple syrup today.
Thank you, Margaret. You may be seated. I don't know how I'm to encourage regular attendance to the school when the reeve of the township excuses his own children at every turn. Well, I guess I'll explain what the rest of our missing friends are today. Let us carry on. Shall we, or we shall never finish?
I feel sorry for those Mitchell children. Their father, Ira, became a Mormon, you know. He talked and talked about going down to Nauvoo, Illinois, where there was a big community of Mormons. About 200 from the area went, but not Ira. He talked, but he stayed. And for years afterwards, Elgin was known as Nauvoo. The name just kind of stuck.
Bryce Mitchell, I believe it is your turn. Why are you trying to sow filth instead of in your own seed?
Bryce Mitchell, remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor.
That is quite enough, Bryce. Now stand back up and answer the question. Why are you trying to sow filth instead of in your own seed?
Well, the roof's leaking onto me seed, Miss Cannon. Me mom tammy if I ruin me breeches.
That is quite enough, girls. The roof is leaking, Bryce, not leaking. My seed, my breeches, my mother, not me. Surely it can't be all that bad. Why, yes, it is indeed as bad as the last time. Well, go get the wash basin and put it under the drip to catch them. You may sit with Philip afterwards. Philip, you will have to share your seat with Bryce for today. Or until the trustees see to repair the roof properly this time, I hope. Let's carry on, shall we? Philip, I believe it is your turn.
Philip Holiday, thy honor thy father and thy mother and that thy days.
Thank you, Philip. And last but not least, George.
George Preston, thou shalt not steal.
Thank you, George. That wasn't the next commandment or the one after, but it should do. All right, children, prepare your slates. We shall start with arithmetic. For you older students, I shall say a question and you will calculate it on your slates. Are you ready? Very well. The question is this. 2 boys have between them 45 marbles. 1 boy has 4 times as many marbles as the other boy. How many marbles does each boy have? Quietly now, children, get to work. George and Sarah, while the others are working out their answers, I would like you to recite your 5 times tables.
5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 6 is 30. 5 times 7 is 35. 5 times 8 is 40. 5 times 9 is 45. 5 times 10 is 50.
Very good. Now let me see how the others are doing. Very good, Margaret. Your figures are getting better all the time. Why, Margaret, what kind of a mess is this?
I had it all done, Miss Cannon. Really, I did. Then Rice rubbed it off.
Rice, is this true? Look at me when you're talking, or stand up when you're speaking to me, young man. Did you rub out Caroline's answers?
I guess so.
You guess so? Look at me when you're talking to me. You either did or you didn't. Now which is it? Yes, Miss Cannon, or no, Miss Cannon?
Yes, Miss Cannon.
Yes. Why would you do something like that, right? You might as well tell me yourself. I'll find out eventually. Caroline, do you know why Rice rubbed out your answers?
I saw him copying Philip's answers, and he saw I was going to tell. I'm so sorry, Miss Cannon.
Sorry? You have no reason to be sorry, dear. You are going to do the right thing. So I'm figuring out the answer again, and I shall check on you in a moment. As for you, young man, it appears that you are not responsible enough to share your desk with a fellow student. I should strap you for cheating and for interfering with another classmate's work. But I have a better idea. Your father is a trustee, is he not?
Yes, Miss Cannon.
Good. Pick up the wash basin and set it on the floor. There.
Oh,
You
Miss
will sit
Cannon.
here until it is lunchtime. Then you will march straight home to your father and explain to him why you are all wet, and ask him kindly to influence the other trustees to fix the leak in this room, once and for all. And finally, I'll be able to hear myself think without that infernal drip, drip, drip.
Hey, discipline was sure swift and efficient in those days.
Well, that Miss Cannon was taking a big risk disciplining the child of a school trustee like that. Teachers were often let go for far less, such as asking for their pay or even a box of new chalk.
Box of chalk, you don't say. I didn't notice there was no blackboard or textbooks.
No books of any kind except what the teacher brought with her or the children brought from home, generally the Bible.
But the worst was the state of the building. Letting the roof go like that. I tell you that kind of thing wouldn't happen in my day.
Oh, not in your day, Gordy. You just stick them in a drafty basement with a leaky furnace pipe. Not in my day either. All that was before Edgerton Ryerson galvanized the politicians in Toronto about the state of schools in our country. By the time I came along in 1866, things were already changing. The school I went to was a newer, slightly larger one than the one Miss Cannon taught in. It was built right down here about a year later down on Church Street. It wasn't such a bad school. Why, it even had a blackboard and a motley collection of books we optimistically called a library. But even that wasn't good enough for a growing town like Elgin. That Edgerton Ryerson changed forever the state of schools in our country. The time had come for a proper school in Elgin, one that reflected the community's growing confidence in its future. There is a schoolhouse in the town.
In the town.
And there my good friends sit them down.
Sit them down.
And make
Their plans for a new schoolhouse to be, that will always, always, always give them glee. Fare thee well, for we beseech thee,
not to let this planning grieve thee.
for the best of friends we know must talk and talk and talk.
Merci beaucoup, kind friends, merci beaucoup.
Beaucoup.
These plans, you know they make for you.
Made for you. So hang your hat on the coat hook by the door, and sit and listen closely evermore.
Mr. Gray, it's a great privilege for me to assist you in the selection of a builder for your new school here in Elgin. Appreciate it. I see you've taken to heart that book I loaned you a fortnight ago, Hints, Tips on School Architecture, with plans and illustrations, published in 1886, just this year past, under the direction of the able Mr. Edgerton Ryerson. Now, there's a man, Mr. Gray, who has a great vision for education in this country of ours, to whom it is My privilege to serve as the Leeds member in the Legislative Assembly of Ontario.
Yes, indeed, Dr. Preston. It's been most important and valuable in our researches, but a little sobering.
How so sobering, Mr. Gray?
Well, with respect to school board trustees in the future erring in their association between school architecture and matters of hygiene. As it says, they will err without any excuse in this good book. As though people down in Toronto have any idea, any inkling, any concept of the conditions up here in the countryside where people work themselves to the bone in order to put food on the table. And where with fine words and noble ideas, this Mr. Ryerson, is it, doesn't think of the need for taking sums from the provincial coffers so that we can put his fine ideas into practice here in the countryside.
Good point, Mr. Gray. So might I suggest that we use this book simply as a guideline in the design of our school and take into account our local circumstances.
Yes, indeed, Dr. Preston. And on that note, I have invited a young Mr. Tabor from Morton to share with us his ideas on this vital project. And in spite of his youth and the fact that he's a relative newcomer to the vicinity, his proposal has been the most impressive of those that we've received since putting in an advertisement for a builder. Welcome, Mr. Tabor. Welcome. Dr. Preston, please have a seat. Dr. Preston and I have asked for your presence with us today in order to consider your advice in the construction of our new school. And keep in mind, of course, we haven't yet chosen on a builder, but in spite of how we might tackle this project and the skills and talents that might bring to bear on it in the work in progress.
That's fair enough, Mr. Gray. I thank you for the opportunity of discussing this fine project further with you.
Mr. Tabor, let's begin then. The choice of the site has already been decided, and that is given. We've already purchased the property from Mr. Philip Halliday. But would you please have reference to the sketch that we've drawn on the board behind you? Keep in mind, of course, this is just a preliminary sketch, just a starting point for our discussion.
Yes, I understand, Mr. Gray. A single story, 2 large rooms, 2 separate entrances. One for the boys, the other for the girls, each with their own cloakroom. 2 windows in each room, and I see that the desks and the teachers' platforms are arranged so that light comes from the students from the left side, which is a very good thing for writing and drawing from my experience. May I ask the dimensions of the building, Mr. Gray?
Mr. Tabor, we haven't yet decided on the exact dimensions of the building, but let's, for the sake of argument, say 40 feet by 50 feet. Now, Dr. Preston has raised a concern regarding the windows and the amount of light that is shed into the classroom. Please explain, Dr. Preston.
Of course. You see, Mr. Tabor, Dr. Linnell has examined the eyes of some 700 school children ranging in age from 7 to 18 years, and he found that 40% suffered from myopia. That's short-sightedness. With the proportion of myopia increasing with the age of scholars. He says that the teacher must be blamed if the students approach within 2 or 3 inches of their slate until their noses are so close to their slate. And I can't say that I agree with my learned colleague on that point. It's my belief that the size and the placement of the windows would more significantly affect the students' visual capacity. So it's been suggested here that the square footage of windows in the schoolhouse should represent at least 1/6 the square footage of the floor space.
I must say I agree with you, Dr. Preston. And I see now that you've mentioned it, that the windows in this plan do not come close to the standard dimension, 1/6. I believe the windows in this plan would need to be doubled and more, and that's just what I propose, gentlemen. May I, Mr. Gray?
Please proceed, Mr. Tabor.
First, a span of 40 feet along this side of the building would allow us to double the width of the window to 6 feet. And a 40-foot span is quite long enough to accommodate a third window somewhere in here. And if we move this one up over here like that, what do you think, Mr. Gray, Dr. Preston?
Excellent.
Well, Mr. Tabor, that's very impressive. But I'm also concerned with the impurities in the air. We know that we breathe air is poison to the blood. If I might just mention Dr. Nichols, editor of the Boston Journal of Chemistry, he says it's not known how rebreathed air produces its fatal effects on health, but it's plain to see with the increase in diphtheria and pulmonary infections amongst the school children that crowded, badly ventilated classrooms is where it all starts. The Ministry of Education holds that this sorry state of affairs is entirely preventable, a position with which I am entirely agreed. So accordingly, Mr. Tabor, each schoolroom must provide at least 250 cubic feet of air per child, a standard, Mr. Tabor, that I would like to see not only met, but surpassed.
Wait now, Dr. Preston. I've already done some calculations on this matter since you raised this problem with us some days ago. And based on a standard of ceiling height of 10 feet above the floor, my calculations suggest that it would be absolutely impossible to accommodate anywhere close to 40 students in this classroom.
Precisely my concern, Mr. Gray.
Well then, gentlemen, I suggest the only direction we can go is up. If you were to raise the height of the building by 5 feet, that adds half again to the volume of air. You would exceed your ministry's requirement, Dr. Preston, and increase the number of students without increasing the size of the building, Mr. Gray. And there are other benefits to higher ceilings. We could add another 2 feet to the tops of each window, bringing in even more light. And with pulleys, you can bring in air from the tops of the windows, by far the best source of clean air, high above the students to prevent placing them in a draft.
Excellent point, Mr. Tabor. Excellent point indeed, and appreciate that very much. Now, our second concern involves vestibules and cloakrooms. And just to point this out on the blackboard, according to the good book, this is absolutely unsatisfactory. There must be a proper division or separation between the cloakroom and the vestibule.
And there's no way for light to get into them except what might filter in through the classrooms, Mr. Tabor.
Mr. Gray, do you require absolutely that the 2 rooms have the same dimension?
Oh, absolutely not, Mr. Tabor, but I fail to see the purpose of your question.
Only this, Mr. Gray. If we were to bring the 2 end walls and one of the classrooms inwards, like so, we could create a proper cloakroom, like so. And Dr. Preston, add a small window here and here at each end of the cloakroom. Yes, that would do it. What do you think, Mr. Gray, Dr. Preston?
Excellent compromise, Mr. Tabor. Excellent compromise indeed. The third question that we have to ask you is the position of the building on the lot. If you've had an opportunity to visit the site already, you may have some opinions in terms of the location. Where would be the best location for it?
Well, I have visited this site, and I believe the property borders the street Halliday Street. I believe that street runs east and west.
That is correct, sir, yes.
Well, then I believe the best place for the school on the property is like so, with the street being here. Because if we placed it right next to the street, we have those 3 glorious 10 by 6 foot windows, and they'd address it. Glorious they would be, gentlemen, if you allowed suitable keystone arching and perhaps gables to set them off. And these same windows provide north light, by far the steadiest to the greatest number of students.
But so close to the street, wouldn't it be much better if the building was positioned farther back on the property?
The building with its added half-story would shade a goodly area, Mr. Gray, which, on its north side, or south side, it would shade a very goodly area, as I was saying, and it would inhibit the growth of vegetation and stop the winter snow from melting for a longer period of time. So it's best to keep the affected area as small as possible on the property itself, and leave the sunny south side for a garden and playing field.
Excellent point, Mr. Tabor. You bring to this study a level of intelligence that amazes me from such a young person. Your capacity to deal with issues of such complexity.
Yes, indeed. It's come to my attention that you and your family have come to us from me, Doc. I might be so bold to say that's a considerable distance to have wandered. How did you come to settle in South Crosby, and why now?
My father was born in Hull, Quebec, which is another far distance from these parts. He was in service to the family Scoville in Lansdowne Township, not far from here in Leeds County. There you have it, the answer to your question. We're a family that moves wherever there is good work to be had, and my father's memories of the beauty of this part of the country drew him back here.
Ah, yes, a fate that has befallen many others than your father, my good man. Well, very impressive, Mr. Tabor. What say you, Mr. Gray? Is Mr. Tabor the man for our job?
Oh, yes, indeed. I am most impressed. Mr. Tabor, you amaze me with your skill and talent, and match or exceed the skills of more elder builders who have expressed an interest in this task. And your zeal and enthusiasm for the challenge I find indeed bracing. You must understand, young man, that for our small village, this public works project is the biggest that we've ever taken on, and some would say that we are exceeding our reach with our grasp. And you must understand that, my young man.
I do indeed, Mr. Gray. As John Locke, the great philosopher, once said, new opinions are always suspected and usually opposed, without any other reason but because they are not already common. Never fear, Mr. Gray, they will come round to your way of thinking.
Well, it would seem, Mr. Gray, that Mr. Tabor, in spite of his youth, might be the man for this job. What say you?
I am totally satisfied with his fine craftsmanship, Dr. Preston. Mr. Tabor, you are the builder of our new school section number 5.
Thank you, gentlemen. I swear you will not be disappointed.
And might I loan you the copy of the book that Mr. Gray and I have made frequent reference to during our discussions? I think you'll find in its pages many helpful hints from many learned and wise men, architects and school superintendents, doctors.
Indeed it will, Dr. Preston. I'll read every page before construction starts. Now, if you excuse me, I must make haste to assemble men and materials. Can I expect a deposit to cover immediate costs, Mr. Gray?
Yes, indeed. We will be discussing the matters of debentures at our next council meeting. And now that we have an eminent builder, would you be able to give me an estimate of cost before Thursday?
Certainly, Mr. Gray, but I can tell you now that $2,000 would be near the sum required, and I'd expect a deposit of $500 with your agreement. Good. I will expect to hear from you next week, and we'll aim to begin work the following week. Goodbye now.
Very well, Mr. Tabor. Fairly well. Now that we've resolved those concerns, there's one other matter that we must discuss, and that is the hiring of a new teacher for our new school. Now, I've had a number of applications from very worthy candidates, but I would appreciate your input in terms of just how to proceed. You see, I feel very strongly that we should hire a local lady for this important task in our new school year.
Well, I have no opinion on this matter, Mr. Gray. Who did you have in mind?
Let's see now, Miss Charlotte Baker, Lottie as she is being called by her family and indeed by her many, many friends.
Oh yeah, Ransom's daughter.
That's right.
Good choice, Mr. Gray. I look forward to meeting her in official capacity as teacher on my next trip home.
Very good, sir.
Lottie! Lottie! Oh, thank goodness you're here. Where the heck are we?
Oh, my dear man, you mean when the heck are we? And the answer to that, dear heart, is it's my time. I happen to be the teacher here at the new Red Brick Schoolhouse. It's 1905, and the Thursday before the late Queen Victoria's birthday, which is to say Empire Day. Stay in the shadows, Gordon. Watch and learn. My, how the 18 years have flown past since I first crossed the threshold of the new school, and what changes the town of Elgin has seen. About 6 years after the school opened, Mr. John Robertson Dargabble, who was township clerk at the time, opened the largest general store in North Leeds County. He had Fred Tabor build it for him. Why, it boasted the latest in gas lighting. Its own water tank in the attic, and even a telegraph office. I'm sure you've seen it in passing. One of J.R.'s daughters opened a chinaware and linen department on the the second story. Imagine a whole department of just China and linen ladies. Contain your excitement. Children, now children, you must conduct your business quietly and in an orderly fashion. Eva and Eldon, I expect you to set a good example for the younger children.
Yes, Miss Baker.
Now, where was I? Oh, yes. About not even a year later, the elders of the Evangelical Methodist Church commissioned Fred Tabor to build a stone structure at the corner of Main and... Why, church court, what did you think? Run along, Gordon. Isn't there something you should be getting ready for the rehearsal?
What?
Oh, it's such a thrill to have someone born, raised and schooled right here in Elgin, be elected the Leeds County member to the Legislative Assembly of the province of Ontario. Who? Why, that same John Robertson Dargavel I just told you about. You really should pay more attention. What a godsend to me. I knocked on the Dargavel's door. It was Mrs. Dargavel herself who answered, Molly to her friends. I told her about our Empire Day celebrations, and she agreed quite readily to be our guest speaker. What's that? You don't know Molly? No. Why, she was a Hopkins, the daughter of the late Robert Hopkins, a prosperous merchant from Newborough. You might know her as Mary Jane. No? You'd know her if you saw her. Children, conduct your behavior in a proper manner here. And get ready for the play, please. I won't condone any rowdy behavior from you guys. Or there'll be consequences, I assure you. Oh, I do hope the program the children have put together will do the day justice. You see, Mr. Dargavel is a trustee for the school. And between that and Mrs. Dargavel... Shush now, Gordon. Oh. I haven't got time to listen to your problems right now. I told you to get one of the older students to help you. You have to attend to your business or you'll spend the afternoon on a stool in the corner.
But...
You must learn to be resourceful, Gordon, to take action on your own account. Dear little Gordon Burt, a good boy, if a little timid, needs constant reassurance. Sound like anyone you know? Oh, you know, the exercises that the school superintendent gave me for Empire Day left me with a very broad scope indeed, but unfortunately very few resources. Luckily for me, I was able to purchase this pamphlet entitled Canada, Our Homeland. It cost me 10 cents. It's from Toronto, so you know it has to be good. Oh, between you and me, it's such a godsend. What with me being so busy these days, I haven't had a minute to spare. I put Eva Kuhn in charge of getting the children ready. She's such a responsible girl. Well, we shall soon see. That is as soon as Mrs. Dargavel arrives. And I hope she won't be late. Children, pay attention now. Mrs. Dargavel, the wife of Mr. John Robertson Dargavel, our elected member of the Legislative Assembly, will be arriving soon to preview what we will present tomorrow.
Oh, Miss Baker, you didn't tell us someone so important would be coming for our rehearsal.
Oh, what's the fuss anyway, Eva? We all know Mr. and Mrs. Dargavel. I mean, it's not like they're strangers.
Eldon's right, Eva.
Yeah.
I just asked Mrs. Dargavel to come to give us some pointers before tomorrow. Since she will be our guest speaker, it might be nice if she knew what we would present.
Well, what if she doesn't like it? It'll be too late to change everything now.
No need to fear, Mary. Coon, isn't it? I am truly excited by the prospect of sneaking a peek at your program for tomorrow. I consider it an honor and a privilege to be invited to speak after your performance. And the last thing on my mind is to criticize in any way your efforts, which your teacher, Miss Baker, confided in me, are considerable.
Thank you, Mrs. Dargavel. Do a rest of you.
That's all anyone can do, dear. Good afternoon, Miss Baker.
Mrs. Dargavel.
I do apologize for cutting it so close. There are so many things to attend to for Mr. Dargavel's return from Toronto tomorrow. You have no idea. He is coming in by train, you know. I do hope their performance won't prevent my meeting him at the station.
Not to worry, Mrs. Dargavel. The children have just been taking care of some last-minute details. Children, let's get ready. If I may offer you a seat right here, it will give you a good view of the proceedings.
Thank you, Miss Baker. You know, Mr. Dargavel would have joined us here as well, had he not so much to attend to at this time. He believes that the celebration of Empire Day does much to teach the children that wherever the British flag floats, order is established, equal rights prevail, education is fostered, liberty is upheld, and general progress ensues.
Such stirring words indeed, Mrs. Dargavel. I trust they will find their way into your speech tomorrow. Children, let's not waste Mrs. Dargavel's time.
This beauteous maid, Miss Canada Fair, with maple leaves twined in her golden hair, is waiting for all who wish may write a letter. A letter upon this leaf she holds tonight, that all who love her come, I pray, all ye who own Miss Canada's sway, and of people who write a far-off home, its product rich or its people comb.
From the east I come, where the blue sea waves wash o'er the beach and in the ocean cave. We fishermen come to toil and rob the sea of its richest spoil. Miss Canada will be the first to write an F upon your leaf tonight. It stands for fish, a product rare in my home, the Maritime Province Fair.
From the far-off west where bears abound, and the wolves and seals and makes are found, I too have come that I might write the letter A on this leaf tonight. For animals stands this A, you see, when winter comes and the wind blows free. Right gaily we laugh as the frost attacks, if we're clad in our furs from these animals' backs.
Where the glorious sun here gives its light, deep in the minds by day and night. But with jest and song we miners work, nor heed the dangers that round us lurk. So from iron mines of far Quebec, I've come with an eye this deep to death. But as I have no time to wash my face, I really feel quite out of place. When Chinook winds blow and the warm sun rays smile over the ranches where the cattle blaze. Grace. This leaf needs an R, we proudly say. Someone must write it without delay. So a rancher bold from the northwest plains I've ridden in haste that our evening wanes. Upon this leaf I might just write an R. I don't think 'twill beauty mar.
We too have come here with the same intent. On adding a C, we both are bent, and as we've quarreled, we now agree to let the herald write a C. I say it stands for copper ore, a mineral rich from Lake Huron's shore.
Well, I assert it stands, without a doubt, it stands for coal. You find it out.
sun shines bright, and the fragrant blossoms, all pink and white, lie ankle deep in the early spring, we think with delight what the fall will bring. A wondrous crop of apples sweet, luscious and red, a royal treat. For this hardy fruit, I'll just write A, and then to my orchards I'll away.
Another miner with a grimy face on this maple leaf has come to place another letter, 'tis N. You see? For nickel from Sudbury. This useful metal your stoves will trim, your skates will plate. Should your spoons wear dim? Just have them plated with nickel that we rough miners obtain from Sudbury.
When in summer this land from sea to sea, with fields of grain is dotted free, for agricultural products, A, upon this leaf I'll place today. In these waving fields of golden grain, I linger oft, while my weary brain rejoices at the restful ease of the rustling rain, stirred by the breeze.
In my pasture fields through the sunnier days, my patient cows on the rich grass graze, and my dairy cool with milk so sweet, they may supply you like a treat. Someday when you're passing, drop in please, and taste my cream or butter or cheese. And then I'm sure that you'll quite agree, 'twould have been a shame to let there be.
There are many more who would like to write a letter upon this leaf tonight. From the Yukon fields so bleak and cold, the miners have sent a G for gold, and the lumbermen would like to add an L of all those old grand forests tell. But there's no more room left to write all these, so instead I'll write an A, if you please. For all the resources of this dear land, so varied and vast, this A must stand. For all the products rich and rare of this land of ours, this Canada fair. May our dominion still extend from Cape Race to Nootka Sound. May peace forever be a lot, and plenty in store abound. And may those ties of love be ours, which discord cannot sever, and flourish green o'er freedom's home, the maple leaf forever. The maple leaf, our emblem dear, the maple leaf forever. God save our King and heaven bless the maple leaf forever.
They will do, Miss Baker. They will do very nicely indeed.
seeing myself at the age of 9. Oh, Lottie, we had such fun times with you. We really did. You're always stretching us and using every opportunity that presented itself to teach us something new about our world and ourselves. How long did you stay at that Red Brick Schoolhouse?
Until about 1915, Gordy, just after the start of the Great War. Oh, the Great War didn't have anything to do with my leaving. I just figured it was time I got married. And in those days, putting a wedding band on your finger meant the end of your teaching career, if you were a woman.
I do recall that. How times have changed. That was so long ago. I was a young man then. I did sign up, you know, right at the beginning of the conflict. Our generation never had to think about fighting for our country or fighting for those principles of equality and liberty that we value so dearly. We were keen to do the right thing. Right for it we were.
Those of us who stayed behind helped out too. We did what we had to do. We'd all stand and sing at the send-offs. Stand and sing.
Listen to the lady. Who's singing?
Keep the home fires burning while your hearts are yearning. Though the lights are far away, they dream of home. There's a silver lining in the dark clouds shining. Turn the dark clouds inside out till the boys come home. Well, it's 1916 and we know the war won't be over anytime soon. That we have to send more of our boys, and it'll be a while before any of them come home. And when they do,
I suppose that's Lieutenant Gus Kuhn and his recruits for the 156th Legion Grenville Battalion.
Yes, it is, Miss McGee. Oh, 58 of them.
You counted them.
Well, yes, it's a course of habit I started with younger children when Lieutenant Kuhn first came to recruit here. At least once a day, when they would march past, I'd ask the younger children to go to the window and count them. It isn't always 58, you know.
I suppose not initially, but surely in the past few months it always is.
Usually, but not always. Sometimes there might be one or two of them missing because they're feeling poorly that day, or because they were needed on the farm. So that was a new part to the exercise. If there isn't 58 of them, they must name who it is that's missing.
Is that wise, Miss Dunfield, for such wee ones?
Well, I think it's very important for them to know who's fighting for them, to remember them.
Forgive an old woman's reluctance to succumb to the inevitable truths of our time. It was very good of you to offer your senior class to help the Elgin Women's Institute prepare these bandages. The Red Cross is in dire need of supplies. We've scrounged these sheets from among our members, laundered them, and I'm sure they will do quite nicely once they are cut and rolled.
Well, I think it's very important for everyone to participate in the war efforts, however they might. Buying war bonds only goes so far. I was very happy when you came to me with this project for my senior class. I'll have to think of something else for my senior class.
Well, perhaps Miss Richardson might have some ideas for you. I do appreciate you offering the school for us to meet with her. My goodness, she should be here. I think she is. You. My dear Miss Richardson, I'm Mrs. President of the Elgin Women's Institute. It is so good of you to come meet with us. This is Miss Luella Dunfield, one of our teachers here at SS number 5.
It's my pleasure to meet both of you good ladies, and it's I who appreciate this opportunity to speak with you. But please, I insist you call me Agnes.
Agnes. Yes, indeed. Agnes. Well, then it must be first names all around. Agnes, Luella, and Elizabeth.
We could sit while you tell us about your project. I'm very keen on hearing all about it. Oh, do forgive the clutter on the table. Miss Elizabeth and I were just sorting some old bandages the women's institute collected for my senior class to make into bandages for the Red Cross.
A worthy undertaking. I'm so impressed by the efforts people back home are making, even in out-of-the-way places. What I mean to say is the war seems so far away when you're out here by the lakes.
The war has touched us even here, some more than others. We are sending our own share of soldiers overseas, you see.
Oh yes, I caught a glimpse of some soldiers marching in formation as I turned into the street.
That would be Lieutenant Gus Kuhn and his recruits for the 156th Legion Grenville Battalion. Lieutenant Kuhn was raised right here in Elgin and was in his first year at Queens when war broke out. He left college and enlisted straight away in the 80th Battalion, later transferring to the 156th. He was made lieutenant and came to Elgin last fall. Since here, he has enlisted 58 men whom he has been training over the winter. He and his recruits are heading for the Berryfield base very soon. But he was so taken with your project that he wanted to meet with you and see what help he could offer before they leave.
Company, halt! Quiet on your rest break. Don't need the neighbors calling in the local constabulary. Good evening, ladies. Hope I'm not too late.
You're right on time, Lieutenant. May I introduce Miss Agnes Richardson? This is Lieutenant Augustus Kuhn. Miss Richardson, or Agnes as she would like us to call her. This is Lieutenant Kuhn, and of course you know Miss Dunfield, Luella for this afternoon. And I suppose you would like to be called Gus to keep with the tenure of the meeting?
Absolutely. Good to see you again, Luella. And what are we calling you, Miss McGee? Lizzie?
I think I would prefer Elizabeth, if you don't mind, Gus. Well, I shall call this meeting to order then, please. Now, we would like to hear all about your project. Tell us everything, assume we know absolutely nothing, and you'll be almost 100% correct.
It started last summer. My younger brother, George, was with the Canadian Forces at the front for a few months. I went to London. I wanted to be as close to him as I could get, and that was it. Finally, had some leave, and I was able to spend some time with them. I had gone there knowing that there must be something that I could do to help. George said that there were enough Canadians over there already, but there weren't enough back home to care for the shell shock, and those too injured to return to active duty. Go back to Canada, he said. Fit up better care, get a good doctor and some nurses, and take on as many cases as the government will send you. Often the best men will break under the strain, he said. Those were his exact words. And that was the last time I was ever to see him. I'm sorry. I'll be all right in a moment. I still can't believe he's gone. I shouldn't carry on like this. I hardly know you.
Nonsense. You must grieve. What are tears among friends but ties that bind? And we are all bound together in this.
Yes, but I should be strong for... You haven't been over there yet, have you? Here I am, demoralizing the troops before they even get over there. I'll just be a wonder at treating the shell shock.
Well, where was your brother when...
Belgium.
When?
3 months ago.
3 months ago. That wasn't that long ago. Well, I know why I'm going, and it sounds like your brother did too. And from what my father has told me, it sounds like it's going pretty well. And he generally gets it right.
Your father? How could he know what I'm doing? Wait, is your father Dr. Darius Kuhn, officer commanding convalescent homes? Then I know I truly am among friends. Your father and I have had several very pleasant conversations regarding the Fettertown camp.
Yes, I may know a little more about your project than these ladies here. Father's told me quite a bit about it, and about you, and he's thoroughly impressed. I can see why.
Friends, you said, Elizabeth? Oh my, you folks really mean it. I feel like I just walked into the warmest, coziest kitchen after the worst blast of a long, cold winter.
You bet we mean it, Agnes. Now let's hear about your project so we can figure out how we can help you.
Well, I have the good doctor lined up, a Dr. Clarence Farrar, a young Harvard psychiatrist. He studied medicine under Sir William Osler at Johns Hopkins in Maryland, and psychiatry and neuropathology in Heidelberg, Germany, under many eminent physicians there. A Dr. Alzheimer among them, I believe. And Dr. Farrar's hired several good nurses as well.
How's Frederick fitting in?
It's coming along, Gus. Not as quickly as I would have liked. The materials are arriving by train from Kingston, a little each day, it seems. A few men from Chafee's. But to tell you the truth, a few extra men, and boats for that matter, wouldn't be amiss, Gus. The men at Chafee's, they know what they're doing, but there's just not enough of them to get everything done before the first cases start to arrive later this month.
Say no more. I'll be there tomorrow with 10 good men.
Tomorrow's Sunday, Gus. Need I remind you, it is the Lord's day of rest.
There's a war on, ma'am, and, well, I can't take the men away from their duties. I need headquarters permission for that. And I move back to Berryfield at the end of next week. But what they do on their days off, well, that's their business. So, say meet at Chafee's tomorrow at 0800 hours, if that suits you.
It does, Gus. It suits me just fine. Are you sure it'll be all right?
All right. It'll be a heck of more than all right if I have anything to say about it. Well, I can't keep the troops waiting any longer. Until tomorrow?
Till tomorrow.
Forward, march!
My goodness, are all the young men around here so outstanding?
Yes, and I have a feeling you'll be meeting them tomorrow morning. Now, what else can we do for you? What about medical supplies, groceries?
That's all arranged. I've a line of supply worked out from contacts in Kingston. Countlers. And we have chickens and a cow. The daily operations of the place are pretty much organized.
I would expect nothing less from one so capable as yourself. May I ask what the treatment for these mental maladies that the men suffer from might be? You can speak freely on this matter. My late husband was doctor here in Elgin for a number of years. I have some appreciation of medical questions.
Well, the theory, as I understand it from speaking with Dr. Farrar, is to restore a feeling of confidence, security, sanctuary, to men who have most likely seen their best friends succumb to the horrors of this war. The men may not be physically injured, but rather mentally traumatized by their experience.
And how does Dr. Farrar plan to heal such mental trauma?
The object of the camp will be to allow the men to lead as natural a life as possible, mostly out of doors, in a wholesome environment. Dr. Farrar believes that Fettercairn will afford him intimate contact with individual cases, and as such, it will be comparatively easy to discover and eliminate the elements which ordinarily retard convalescence.
In other words, a little rest and relaxation on the Riedel will work wonders?
Precisely. The men will be allowed to fish, sail, canoe, feed the chickens, and tend to the gardens.
A garden, you say? You mean a vegetable garden for growing vegetables for the men's meals?
Yes, initially, but eventually I'd like to lay out a few flower beds as well. There is nothing like the beauty of a flower or the exquisite fragrance of a garden in bloom to raise the spirits.
Well, Agnes, I think we have just discovered how the Elgin Women's Institute may be able to help you out. Many of our members have lovely gardens, and there are perennials that generally need dividing at this time of year and again in the fall. I'm sure they would be very happy to offer you an exceptional selection of plants for your new beds.
What a lovely idea. We will most certainly take you up on this offer, Elizabeth. And I have a further suggestion. I will have to discuss it first with Dr. Farrar, of course, but perhaps the ladies themselves could bring their contributions to the island and direct the men as to their planting.
What a marvelous idea. We could even pack a box lunch and make a picnic out of it. I do believe that such an event would go a long way toward raising spirits all around.
A picnic? Oh my! Is there some way the children can help out with this event? They'd be so disappointed to be left out.
Well, I will have to discuss it first with Dr. Farrar. I'm sure he'd like to get to know the men a bit before deciding. These are wonderful ideas, ladies, truly wonderful. Your willingness to help out it's quite overwhelming.
Must you go, Agnes? I so want the children to help out. They can't manage the bandages, you see. Isn't there something they could do?
One thing I need to give some attention to is how the men will be greeted upon arrival at the island. I would like for them to feel immediately as if they are truly home, difficult to do with no family. That would be too trying for them, you see. But some sort of welcome might come easier from strangers. And easiest of all from children, I think.
We can make little welcoming packages for each one. A different one for each soldier. It can contain a map of Scott Island or Indian Lake, or whatever else would make them feel welcome.
That's perfect, Luella. Personal and respectful. I can't think of a better way to put the soldiers at ease.
There are other teachers in the area too. One at Davis Lake, another at Chapin's on Road, and one at Clear Lake. Every now and again we get together to help each other out with ideas. I'm sure they'd be more than happy to help out. Don't worry, Agnes. We'll have enough little welcome packages to...
I have not a worry in the world, Luella. I don't know how to thank you ladies enough for this afternoon. Your kindness and generosity have raised my own spirits more than a notch.
Nonsense, Agnes. It is we who must thank you. It is you who are leading a most positive contribution to the war effort here on the home front, one that has been sadly overlooked to date. These are the men who will be left to pick up the pieces of this world once this war ends and carry us forward into the next and hopefully better future. You can tell by your reception here today that we are very excited about the opportunity of adding to that effort from you and the Canadian government that you're making on that future.
After the war, flowers continue for many seasons after that, blooming in June and early July, and then again in late August, September.
Oh, speaking of September, Gordy, I have something for you.
What? What is
Come
this?
on.
What is
Come
this?
on, put this on.
What am I? A beauty queen now?
This sash is from SS number 5 and identifies you as a student from that school. It's from the 1925 school fair. You probably wouldn't know this, Gordy, because you were long gone from school by then. The school fairs got started during the Great War.
I remember school fairs. That they kept going for 25 years or so after the war. The Department of Agriculture each spring would give teachers seeds for flowers and vegetables to give to the students. They'd plant them and over the summer weed them and water them to be exhibited and judged in September.
Yes, that's right. The teacher's first job in September was to prepare for the school fair. Competition was so keen that if the students saw a new, young, inexperienced teacher in September, they all but gave up on winning anything at the fair.
School fairs were held in centers like Elgin. Why, I believe that the judging and exhibition tents for the 1925 fair went up right where the high school now stands.
You're right. Girls would bring samples of school lunches to be judged, baked goods, and handwork, such as patching a three-cornered tear. How many of you know how to patch a three-cornered tear? How many of you know what a three-cornered tear is?
How many of you care?
Just as we thought.
Well, the boys brought crafts they made. Also entered for judging were samples of art and penmanship and even livestock. And attached to each entry was a card signed by the parent stating that the child had completed the task on his own.
Now think about that for a minute. Is it the teacher in me, or is there a potential cheater in every crowd? Look for one.
Ah, I found one. You're forgiven. You know, these school fairs commenced with a parade of all the participating schools, each with a banner displaying its name and section number. Banner bearers, usually the tallest and oldest, led the students arranged by size, marching along behind.
And after the parade, the teacher would lead the students in a series of drills, and best of all, their very own cheer.
Elgin once, Elgin twice, holy jump!
The best cheer earned the school a shield, but it won't be yours.
And after the drills, the students ran to the exhibition tents to see what ribbons they'd won.
Oh! Okay, red for first.
Blue for second.
Congratulations. Green for third. Congratulations.
And yellow for fourth. That's why he got fourth. An overall prize was awarded to the student accumulating the highest number of points.
Yeah, school fairs were mighty fine events, but unfortunately they only happened once a year. You're probably wondering what students did on a regular school day.
Well, let me see. Oh, yes. Ante over the woodshed. That was a real favorite. That's where one team stands on one side of the school, the other team on the other side. A ball is thrown over the roof to the call of Ante over. Whoever catches it on the other side runs around the school and tags as many kids as possible before being caught.
Wow.
It was fun.
And in the winter, preferably in the deep snow, it was foxes and hounds for the foxes chase, or foxes and geese for the geese chase. All variations on that perennial favorite, tag.
But the best schools played the sports that we all knew and loved. Sports like baseball. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jacks. I don't care if I ever get sacked or if you root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Nothing was finer in the summer than a good game of baseball. There were no gloves, of course. You learned to catch the ball barehanded or you had sore hands.
And pasture land was sometimes expropriated to use as a ball field. There wasn't much room, and frequently broken windows were the inevitable result.
And in the winter, well, a couple of summer games evolved into a funny kind of sport that's played in the winter and on ice. And that game is called hockey. Hockey, that's right. The game of hockey. It wasn't long into the winter before that field was flooded and turned into an ice rink.
I bet you have fond memories of those games of shinny back at the school, Gordy.
I sure do. We'd haul pails of water out here to get that ice as smooth as a baby's spot.
It's all right. I know what you mean. I wasn't born yesterday, you know.
No, you weren't.
Trenton Tower, this is Air Force 3749, requesting takeoff, flight number 10. Trenton, Elgin, Sealy's Bay, and return flight to Trenton, over.
3749, you're cleared to take off, over.
So here I am, Officer Cadet Joe Bates, on my third last training expedition. Soon I'll be flying my trusty fighter over the channel, challenging the Luftwaffe to a duel to the death. Nothing but blue skies, scattered cumulus clouds, visibility unlimited. I can see it now. My eyes divide the area world into quadrants, sectors, searching each one systematically, continually, waiting for that faint speck.
that movement that peels away the layer of invisibility away from my enemy, my prey. For I am the hunter, the seeker. I own the skies. I check my map. Ah, Lowborough Lake. But I know that's just some fancy term for some German base where they're testing some more gas to use against the Allies. My first mission is to go down and drop my wingtip bomb and get out by doing a strafing run. I go down on the western shoreline. I'm so low the woodpeckers are looking in at me. I pull up. Ah, there's the island. Okay, I gotta get in and drop the ball. Here we go. Gotta get out quick. I feel the aircraft shuddering. Oof, that was close. But wait, I gotta get around quick to strafe those brutes as they're coming around their holes. I turn right, tight, tighter than the paint on a barn door. Okay, here I come, suckers. I got you. Back to Elgin we go. You know, folks, there's a lot of good guys in there. Good, brave guys. You know the ones down there fighting on land? It takes a lot of guts to be a soldier. But sailors, it takes a special kind of person to be a sailor. You know, fighting 1,000 miles away from land, that takes guts. But hey, if you gotta fight a war, this is the way to do it. I mean, you're flying. The air is clean and fresh. Nothing but blue skies and scattered white clouds. Well, sometimes those clouds turn dark and surly, and the wind starts blowing you this way and that way, and the lightning flashing around you, and the updrafts and the downdrafts, and then the excitement. You're in a dogfight. You're on the guy. You're on him all the way. You're locked on. You're about to hit that button. That button that'll send him straight to hell when he takes to the left, and then to the right, up and down, and he climbs and he twists, and you're after him all the way. But wait, he pulls up, and he's too close. He's by you. Dang, you gotta do something. So you pull up, and you go after him. Because you know, folks, what goes up, comes down. And it's gonna come down spitting its gun at you. So you blow up after him. Oh no, here he comes. Got him. Back to Elgin we go. Nice little town. Looks like 3 churches. Protestants on that side, Catholics on the other, and Anglican somewhere down there in the middle. What's that? What's that? Oh, don't cut out on me now. A little more throat. No, it's not working. Come on, baby. Trenton Tower, this is Air Force 3749. Mayday, mayday, over.
This is Trenton Tower. Aircraft calling Trenton, say again. Your signal is weak, over.
Trenton Tower, this is Air Force 3749, requesting landing. My engine seems to be cutting out. Mayday, over.
Roger 3749. Stand by for Chief Flying Instructor, over.
This is 3749. Do you really think this is the time for that? There are certain times in a man's life when getting advice from a fatherly figure is the last thing that he needs. Here I am, going 150 miles an hour, 2,000 feet up in the air, and the magic power that lets me do so is threatening to quit. And they suggest I speak to my chief flying instructor? Ha! You know, folks, since we got a minute, I should probably tell you what it was like back then. You know, there weren't a lot of people, less than 1/3 of the population. Cars, yeah, a few, but not as many, because there weren't as many people. Airlines, yeah, a few, but it was expensive, and not for the faint of heart. But then the war came, and things exploded. The world stage got bigger, the way we looked at life broadened. And for a lot of men and women, well, things got a lot better. As for me, well, I got the chance to fly. So here I am, living the dream. Oh no, what's that? What's that? Fog? No, let's smoke. No! Oh, come on. Come on, I can't do this. My engine seems to be cutting out.
This is Trenton Tower, aircraft 3749. Can you give us a grid reference, over?
This is 3749. I could, but I'm a little busy right now. Just go to Elgin, and by the time you get there, anybody on the streets will be able to tell you where I am. Over and out. Yeah. Okay, gotta find a place to land. There's a field. No, it's too close to the Red Brick Schoolhouse. Can't land there. A lot of bush. Oh, there's a field. Yeah, I can land there. Let's see. Flag, anybody? Flag. I need to find the wind. Come on, people, where's your patriotism? Ah, there's a flag. Thank you. Wind's coming from the west, so I gotta take it from the other way. Here we go, baby. We can do this. Don't give up on me now. 200 miles. Nope, 200 feet, it says. It's broken too. Oh, come on, looks like 150. Come on, baby, we can do this. Look out for the tree. Yes, we can do this. 150. Yes, sweetness, we did it. You know, they can't get me for this. It's not my fault. It was engine failure.
Whoa, holy, look at that, Rita. I told you you came down to Shadowlands Field.
Oh my goodness! Look, Pete! There's a pilot standing beside the plane. Do you think he's hurt?
What, you think I got telescopes for eyes? Come on, Rita, we gotta get closer.
I'm with you, Pete. Do you think we should get a doctor?
What, you think I carry around a crystal ball? Come on, we gotta get closer. Use your head.
I thought I was, Smarty Pants. You just wait. We're gonna get there and he's gonna be hurt. And then we'll be the smart one. Smarty Pants Pete.
Hey, mister, you the pilot of this, right? Ow! Ah. How can you just land in this field?
What's your name?
RCAF Officer Cadet Joe Biggs! What are your names? How old are you?
I'm Rita, and I'm 13. Well, going on 14, really. Hey, Joe, are you all right? You seem a little woozy. Perhaps you should sit down for a bit. Where are you from anyway, Joe? Oh my goodness, he's gorgeous.
How come you just landed in this field?
Well, you see, I saw you two riding your bikes down the street and figured, hey, why not drop in and visit?
Aw, Joe.
Well, you see, young fellow.
Pete, call me Pete.
Well, you see, Pete, I was flying my aircraft and the engine seemed to cut out a few miles back, and I don't know what happened from there.
Well, you know what, Joe? When I'm 16, I'm going to join the Air Force too. What squadron are you with? Where'd you take off from? This is the first time you ever landed in the field?
I'm based out of Trenton.
Oh,
that's where I took off from, at least.
Are you all right? Give it some air, will you? I've taken first aid. Look into my eyes. Do you hurt anywhere?
Just my head from when I stood up a moment ago.
You could have a concussion, you know. How many fingers do you see?
As many as you want me to see, Miss...
Blackman, but you can call me Marjorie. Well, you said right.
RCAF Officer Cadet Joe Bates, at your service, Marjorie. Marjorie, I like that.
However did you land this plane, Joe? You must be awfully experienced to be able to do that.
Oh, that? That was nothing. I've done it 100 times before. Oh, actually, come to think of it, my back is a little wonky. And I think I might have hit my lip on the gun sight on the way in. Maybe you should take a look at it.
Whoa! What a great job you did landing that plane, pilot. Whoa! Everything seems to be pretty well intact. Well, the propeller's a little bit bent, but I'll bet the RCAF can straighten that out so it can be used again. Other than the prop, I think everything seems to be pretty well in one piece. You're out of Trenton, I imagine.
Yes, sir. This is our first turning point on a practice navigation trip we do.
That would explain why we've heard the sound of planes overhead so often lately. What happened here, do you know?
No, sir, I don't. The engine just seemed to be cutting out a few miles back, and things just got really bad, really quick.
Wow. Well, you seem to be okay. I imagine Marjorie's looked you over, but would you get this young fellow, go to the farmhouse there, get this young fellow some water, please. And not that I doubt you telling us, Marjorie, but Pete, would you get over to Doc Kerr's? Tell him he's needed here right away.
Yep.
Oh, you need to call anyone. Say, what's your name, son?
RCAF Officer Cadet Joe Bates, sir. And I connected with Trenton before landing here, so they should be here soon. But they may take a couple of hours to get here.
It must have been awfully frightening when it happened, Joe. You must be very experienced. I bet a lot of pilots might have crashed.
Well, it is pretty dicey landing a plane in a farmer's field. You don't know what's there. There could be a hole or a stump. It could be muddy and you could be slipping all over the place. But that's what they train us for in the Army, is those split-second decisions. That's what it's all about.
Really? How interesting. Tell me about the crash, Joe. How did it
Now, Marjorie, it wasn't a crash. As you can plainly see, the plane and the pilot are quite okay. I believe it's what they call a forced landing, isn't that right, Joe?
Yes, sir. That is what we call it. So there I was. I give her the gun to clear the fuel line, but the clear line didn't fuel. No, the fuel line didn't clear. That's right. Right?
As far as I know, I don't know much about airplanes.
Neither do I. That's what those guys in the airport are for. So I give her the gun to clear the fuel line. But it didn't work. So I had to find a place to land. You know, a field, but not around any kids, because I didn't want to hurt them. Because that's what we're fighting for, isn't it? The safety of them children. So I found a field away from people and property that I couldn't damage. I know I could jump and parachute out of there, but that's something that an officer, and a gentleman I might add, doesn't do. So I risked my life to land the plane safely in a field that suited the need.
Well, I think you did a great job here, Officer Cadet Joe Bates, but I think this is going to go down back in Trenton.
Oh, damn it, sir. Excuse my language, miss. Frankly, if they don't think I did the right thing to control the situation, well, I just don't know. I don't know, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we have a young man who volunteered to go off to war. A fine specimen of Canadian manhood, who, in the process of training to defend his country and his fellow citizens, risked his life to bring his plane to a safe landing. And why, you ask? You did ask, right? Why, you ask? Well, to save from harm our citizens, in particular, our children. Did he have to do that? No. He could have put his own safety at first and parachuted out of that crippled airplane. But instead, he kept our children safe, and his plane too, so that it could be used again to train fine young men like himself, men who will go on to teach Hitler the folly of picking a fight with this great country, Canada. Now, I ask you, will we let him be punished? I say no. What do you say? No. Oh, come on. I say no. What do you say? No. That's better.
Wouldn't you say, folks? I remember the day that plane came down. It's all anybody could talk about till after the war. It's all anybody could talk about who was there at the time, still talks about today. Marjorie's got some really good pictures, though, on your display over here. Take a look at them before you leave. Fine shots. You know, Neil said it sounded like an earthquake. Well, he was just a little psychic at the time, so you can imagine how that sound might have gotten a little bit distorted in his mind. Now, Doug kept calling it a crash. As a matter of fact, he still calls it a crash to this day. Now, Joe and Don, older schoolmates of his, tried to set him straight about this. There was no crash, they said. No harm done to the pilot or the plane. Doesn't take much to excite people around here, does it? Well, I'm back in 1963. Late August, late afternoon, senior room at the old Red Brick Schoolhouse. I'm wondering, what the heck did this trip down memory lane get me? Well, I know that I must build a good, solid school. Keep the numbers straight. Take whatever help the folks down in Toronto can give. Get everybody in the community on board. Put a good team together. And whatever you do, land the plane safely on the earth. Well, that's about it. Where the devil is she? Lottie! Lottie! Figures. I probably imagined the whole thing. Nodded off here, just as everyone left. Lottie Baker. Funny thinking about her after all these years. Well, I'd best be going. Them cows won't milk themselves.
Gordy, I was hoping I didn't miss you. I have to talk to you about this project.
Now, you've already said your piece, Ab, and I'm not going to give it any more time for today. I've got to get going.
It's Elsie, Gordy.
Elsie? Something happened?
No, nothing like that. It's just something she said this afternoon before you got here. She said this building had so many memories, and that it had good bones.
Yep. Has all that, Ab. Good memories. Good bones. But get to your point, Ab. I haven't got all night.
Well, it occurred to me that there are probably a lot of people that feel the same way as Elsie about this place.
Only us old-timers. We'll get over it. No need to worry. We've been through worse.
Oh, I know you're a tough old fella, Gordy, and that Elsie's still a firecracker at 65, but that's not the point.
We're crying out loud. What is the point? I wish to Sam Hill you'd get to it.
Well, you know how I'm on the recreation committee, and the school trustee, and the Lions executive. Well, the rec committee wants to put in a town rink somewhere, and the boys in the Lions all say they'd volunteer to build it if the township provides land and materials.
Well, that's a good thing to do. I'll take it to the next council meeting and see what they say. There must be some property around here lying fallow we could use, and as to materials, I need a detailed estimate. But what's this got to do with the schoolhouse?
Well, the field behind the school would be the ideal place for the location. Well, the township owns it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this building too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, don't you think the school would make ideal changing rooms for visiting teams? And we could have a fire going in the wood stove, fans could come in and get warmed up between periods, and we could have a refreshment counter with hot chocolate and cookies.
That's a nice thought, Ab. But where are we going to get the money?
Well,
It's bad enough that I have to go to the town council and ask them to go into debt for 20 years for $170,000. They won't be in a very generous frame of mind, I can tell you that right now. And I don't think I will, either.
Well, I thought about that too, Gordy.
Do I want to know?
Sure you do. See, that $175,000 that the province loans us for the school includes money for new desks.
Yeah, right, desks, new desks. Sounds good.
And you see, over the last 5 years or so, we've been replacing the desks at each of the school one by one, so we have a handful of almost new desks sitting around. So the boys and I could go around and collect these desks, and we could put them at the new school. And this way, we could save money for them.
The rink. Now, wait a minute, Ab. Isn't there some kind of rule about that? Taking money for one purpose and using it for another?
Well, the province lends money to municipalities all the time for recreational activities, and ours would probably qualify. And I can't think of anything that would benefit the youth of this community more than a rink.
Swimming pool. Well, let's leave it to the judge. But you can count on me not to breathe a word to anyone. And I think it would be a good idea if we kept this between the two of us.
Does this mean you'll sign for the school?
Well, it still has to go through council. But you got my vote and my thanks.
Thank
you.
you.
Done a great job and a good service for the community.
This means a lot to me coming from you. I'll have the papers to you tomorrow if I have to work on them all night.
Oh, to be young again. The energy of youth.
We must always have old memories and young hopes.
Some young fella tries to put me down and says my school is no good. Number one.
Hey, hey, keep away!
Where you first learned to be loved, free, feel that hope's mad. Be true to your soul, just like you would any girl. True to your soul, and let your colors fly. So be true to your soul.
Yvonne and Elaine. Rachel and Yvonne and Elaine, would you come forward, please? And Ginny? We couldn't have done this without this teamwork. Manager, Elaine Laxton. The playwright, Yvonne. And my brother Doug was part of that too. So thank you, Doug. Ginny, the costume designer who did fantastic work getting all of these wonderful costumes. I can't tell you the number of places I went to look for a World War I uniform. And actually there is a World War I uniform outside, courtesy of Marjorie Jackson and a friend of hers. So have a look on your way out. Ginny, thank you very much. Our marvelous director, Rachel, who has all of these actors whipped into shape in the nicest way and the most wonderful way. Rachel, thank you very much. The photographs on the way out. They're not very well lit, but there is a report of the plane landing there, so you can have a look at that. But thank you, Yvonne. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Elaine. Thank you, Ginny. And my nephew wants the playwright to sign his sheet. So she's successful.
And we have to thank Jane, the producer. She did a fabulous job.